Rock Valley College's Board of Trustees votes 7-1 to approve a new contract for the president. The deal locks in a third term for Spearman, who first started at the college in 2020. WIFR's Miriam Niesmeyer spoke with leaders about what this means moving forward.
Daniel, President Spearman tells me he is excited to serve a third term and that it's important for him to keep the college moving forward, plus better the future of Rock Valley College.
Nelson?
Yes.
Trojan?
Yes.
The Rock Valley College Board of Trustees approved a 3-year contract for President Howard Spearman. Trustees say the decision sends a message of consistency as the college grows.
Improving the contract just helps with the stability of the administration and moving the college forward with the goals of the college, goals of the president, goals of the board.
The contract includes an annual salary of more than $288,000, along with additional benefits. Board Chair Paul Gorski says the pay is based on his current agreement and designed to stay competitive with other colleges in the region.
It compares favorably. It's pretty aggressive in attracting talent here in the Midwest.
Spearman says his focus turns to what's next, including expanding programs and opening the downtown campus in August. The school will offer programs like automotive, human services, and criminal justice.
It's been an exciting time for Rock Valley College, and with that said, we've been able to improve our culture. People are excited about working here, and when they're excited, it's better for student success.
Spearman says enrollment is another top priority, with a push to reach more adult learners.
We have a strong relationship with our K-12 partners, but we really want to continue to take our higher education passion to our adult learners and let them know that they also belong at Rock Valley College.
Spearman's new contract will begin July 1st and run through June 30th of 2029.
Trustees also held its reorganization meeting Tuesday night, electing board leadership and making appointments for the upcoming year.